Hi, I'm Chad, and you're watching 9 to 5 to Life Off-Grid. And in this video, I'm going to show you how us off-gridders start a fire and cook a steak off-grid style. Check it out.
Some of us have a hard time starting a fire, but after you do it for a while, you really figure out the exact basics to actually start a fire, and it starts every time. What I like to do is, I walk out in the woods, I find me a pine tree that's got some old dead twigs toward the bottom of it. Those are normally dry, instead of finding them on the ground. The sap in the pine tree acts as a fuel, and it burns very well, so it's a very good fire starter. If you don't have any pine trees around, just find some dry, dead twigs somewhere. Gather up as much as you can. You can never have too much. After you get a good pile of small twigs in the fire pit, you can start adding larger branches on top of that. If you happen to have a birch tree nearby, go ahead and grab yourself a little piece of the bark, put it up underneath them little twigs. It is an amazing fire starter. The pine will start just fine on its own, but if you have the birch, go ahead and use it. So this right here, starting a fire with stick, a lot of people think off-gridders has to start their fires with a stick or flint and steel. Yeah, so check this out. This is a trick that I want you to learn. Watch closely. What do you think of that trick? So, I guess I did use flint and steel, technically. But did you see how fast that birch lit up? Stuff is amazing. Now you want to be sure those twigs and branches that you put on your fire is lit really good before adding your larger pieces of firewood. Then you should be all set. So now we'll let our larger pieces of firewood burn down a little bit, and then we'll go out and find ourselves a skewer for our steak. Make sure you find a nice green, solid piece of wood for your skewer, because if it's dry, your fire is going to burn it up pretty fast. I always trim off the bark at the end of my stick where my meat's going to be. That way the bark doesn't burn off and get inside my meat. Now it's important not to cut the meat too small before you put it on your stick, because you do not want it to dry out. Keep it nice and thick. That way it stays nice and juicy. Be sure to leave some space between all the meat. That way it cooks evenly. Oh, the sounds of steak sizzling on the fire. There is nothing like it. With these bigger chunks of meat on there, it gets a little top heavy and wants to spin on you. But I dealt with it. It worked out all right.
What we got here, boy? Huh? Got some steak? Want to get some?
And of course, Isaac finally wants to come hang out with me. I wonder why. Do you notice my skewer stick burning? Just wait for it. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Yeah, I really wanted to do some fancy editing skills right here and cut this out so I looked like I was perfect.
Yikes.
But I'm not. This is life. And honestly, it tastes really good with ashes on it. I can tell that Isaac is a little upset that I dropped his steak in the fire. But I'm sure he'll forgive me.
Dear God, thank you for this wonderful day. Bless this food, my body. Thank you for everything you've done for me, for our family. Amen. You ready to eat, boy? Good stuff, huh, boy? You chew with your mouth shut? Man.
Isaac thinks because he's off grid he can chew with his mouth open. I gotta put a stop to that.
They're good? Good stuff? Sure is.
Now this hardcore off-gridder needs a toothpick. Watch how I do this. These flossers are the greatest after a big old steak.